You're about to hear a real recorded therapy session between myself, Stephen, and my therapist, Zach, coming up today. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be a part of your life anymore. I'm not going to answer the phone to you. I'm not going to answer the phone to anyone who is calling me about you, and I'm not going to come rescue you ever again.
Right, yeah.
Hi there, I'm Stephen, also known as One Man.
And my name is Zach, also known as the therapist.
And this is One Man and his therapist. Zach has been my therapist for over 10 years now. He helped me get sober and he helped me find great healing in my life. And now we are opening our therapy sessions to you, so hopefully you can find some healing as well. We record our sessions remotely and we use a real-life human animator to bring the sessions to life. Welcome to One Man and his therapist.
Tell me, has the day started with meditation, or has that yet to happen?
Well, I was just doing one of your meditations. I'll be honest, since last week I didn't I did. It's never a good excuse. I did have time, but I haven't indulged fully in them yet, really. I was just doing the short one there, which was lovely, but I haven't yet to do the long one.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're fired.
I have on my other homework, I have to say, I have had an exceptionally productive week. So last week we were talking about kind of adopting a better schedule where instead of kind of like taking a very leisurely morning, I kind of get the good bit of work done in the morning. So walk the dog, come straight to work. And it's kind of a game changer. I'm really, I'm getting to the middle of the day and I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm winning today. And
Yeah.
then the naps. I've had a nap every single day since we last spoke. Which I was aware of the existence of naps. I love when I've had them, but they've been very rare in my life. And now every day I've got into bed around 3:30 and had a nap. And so it's a one. And I go to sleep. It's a bit I don't know what the word is, but I go to sleep listening to the sound of my own voice. So I go to sleep to my sleep stories. And it's kind of funny. I was thinking I'm literally making money for myself while I'm going to sleep.
Yeah. If that doesn't lull you off into a beautiful snooze, I don't know what can. How long are the naps lasting for? Are you setting an alarm?
Yeah,
What's
like
the
I said,
duration?
I do a timer of 40 minutes, but then I sleep only for it takes me 10 minutes to fall asleep, and then I sleep for like 30 minutes, and then it goes off. So
Yeah, we'll max it out at that. No more. Yeah,
oh
that's great, wonderful, well done. When I hear clients use phrases like a game changer, it always puts a bit of sparkle in my day. So that's good to hear. So, the
it's like getting
productivity is
2
up.
days.
Mm,
It's like getting sorry to interrupt. It's like getting two days in one day because you wake up in the afternoon with that beautiful positivity that you have in the morning that you think is only coming once in the day, and it comes again in the late afternoon.
you
It's
get
really
a
nice.
second run at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. A nice way of describing it. Yeah, you get 2 days, 2 for 1. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. So it's literally is a no-brainer to keep that up, and your brain will just keep that up. I mean, you'll just automatically do that now, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
because your mind-body response is so affirming. It's so positive. The body is enjoying this. You're enjoying this. So yeah, great. So the making use of your morning, introducing the nap, great. Those boxes ticked. We keep
Yeah.
it going. Although, do you need to tweak any of those elements that you want to discuss now, or is it just a matter of getting traction and keeping that behavior going for another couple of weeks before we talk about those topics again?
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I'm feeling a big kind of ability to breathe around my work at the moment. It's really nice because it's been so stressful, and I've realized, it's, as I think I said last time, but it's been so stressful for so long now in terms of just this burden of so many audiobooks to record and everything. I've said no to like $5,000 worth of work in the last week, like
Wow.
literally because people are like, we need it in the next whatever. And I'm like, sorry, I don't have an available slot for you until August. And it's like, and they're like, but we really, and it's like, no, sorry, it's not happening. So that's 2 jobs I've said no to. I genuinely, I don't mind. I don't care. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And before I would have felt like a real pressure around it. Like, oh my God, a panic, but I'm like, it's going to, like something else has come. For example, yesterday, a guy in America has written a book. And he's like, and it's a really good quality book. And I've read through a bit of it, and it's like a $3,500 job. And he said, yeah, August, perfect, no problem. So by saying no to those 2 ones, I've got this other one coming now, and I think he's going to order today for August. So that's August covered.
Wonderful. And isn't it lovely to you've had the courage to test that? And let's not underestimate how difficult it is for an independent worker to actually say no to a
Mm-hmm.
job. So bravo. But isn't it wonderful that in testing that just in this week alone, a no to 5K,
Mm-hmm.
but the test and the courage of doing that has just opened up yeses to other work that is going to be less burdening. Because as you said to me, quality writing means an easier narration.
Yeah.
And quality writing they probably pay better anyway. They probably have better publishing and backing. So you've straight away, we have proven that this method works. That
Yeah.
to say no opens up a double yes. A bit like you were saying earlier, it's like getting 2 days for one, being so productive in the morning. Well, I think the same analogy applies here. This is like in saying no to one job, you nearly open up the benefit of two, or
Yeah.
double the joy in some other way. Not always financial, but as you say, even in the quality of the work. So well
And
done,
the
well
great
done.
thing is as well, like now that I have that booked for August, I'm just going to say no more for August. And that's going to be, that book will be, I could do it 2 hours a day over the whole month, or I could do 6 hours a day over 5, 6 days, and it'll be done. But the fact is then that I have a hell of a lot of other time then to work on my other projects,
Yeah,
and instead of being like, oh no, I've got 5 audiobooks to do this month, and then nothing, for no breathing space, no creative space, no, so I think it's the wise choice.
excellent. I
Yeah.
agree, and I'm delighted that you're getting such instant reward from your efforts. So that's great.
Yeah.
Um, May we go back on the mindfulness conversation and just discuss your experience of the short audio, the short 8-minute one I gave you, which I think it's called Moments of Mindfulness, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Uh,
can you just maybe talk through your experience of that?
well, I'm going to be really honest. I've only started doing it today.
All right,
so
okay.
so I can't speak with any authority. I've been diligently doing everything else we've worked on. We talked about last week. So I think, if you don't mind, I'll save it to next week, and I will. I promise you. This week, I really want to take time to really sit. I haven't meditated at all, which is very bad of me. Um, very bad for me, because I know how much it is beneficial to me.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's nice to see you there checking your own language. As you said, bad. You sort of went back over that sentence and just you dampened it down a little. So that's
mhm.
good. Also, as well, I would suggest that your naps during the day have been a wonderful alternative to your mindful practice. So it's not
Yeah,
like you've rejected or disregarded your need for rest or focus. You just did something different.
yeah,
But I will, given that you're going to go at it again this week, I want to remind you of the one tip I'm sure I gave you last time we spoke, or I certainly hope I did, which was when you listen to it, to start off with the mindset of thinking. Um, so imagine, I have no history, I have no future. It's as if I just arrived here right now. So
hmm
you start listening to the audio with the mindset that you literally are this fresh being, this brand new entity.
okay.
So you've no history, you've no future, you've just literally arrived onto this earth now. You've
I
just
like
arrived.
that.
This is it, the first moment. Okay?
Beautiful. Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
great.
So you start from, I suppose, in a way, you start from a position of purity.
Mm-hmm.
And it also just releases the idea of the history you carry or the future you are anxious about. So just, I have no history. I have no future. I've arrived just now.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's begin.
Great.
And that's how I'd like you to practice and experience it this week. Okay?
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Yeah. What else would you like to speak about today?
But one other thing to just, I did another thing you suggested, which was plan. So I've planned the entire summer. Basically, I kind of came up with this very good schedule. I spoke with Rebecca about it. I said these are the times that I'm going to work. Like this is kind of the rough outline of each day. And she was like, "Cool, sounds good." And I was like, "Yeah, great." So there's kind of a clear understanding of hopefully going forward now of when I'm at work and when I'm not. So that's something else. But anyway, look, yeah, there's something much bigger, not bigger, but something that definitely I need to talk about today.
Okay.
Is my father. So my dad is actually in hospital right now in ICU, um, and he he had a series of falls. So the other day was May 13th, and it marked 10 years since I fell in London, and the whole kind of, I guess, turning point of my life that led me to eventually finding you and getting sober. And when I fell from the 20 feet and landed on my head and had a subdural hematoma. And my dad, I called him, the last week has been quite worrying. He's been in his little house where he lives, and he's been complaining of not being able to walk around, saying he thinks he has some form of vertigo, and he lives alone. So, and I'm here in Romania, so it's very difficult. I was like, what the hell? Obviously there's alcohol involved. So as you know, there's kind of to an extent for me, there's a disconnecting with love kind of thing happening because but at the same time, he's my dad, and I'm obviously worried about him being in a house on his own when he says he can't even walk to the kitchen. And I'm like, and then he wouldn't let his sisters into the house, and it soon became clear why. And anyway, there's this guy who I found when I was in Ireland who is an amazing guy who has, he works with services, kind of connecting people who need help. And I was on the phone to him and I said, look, he can't walk around. I don't know what to do. He won't let his sisters in the house. And he said, well, it's kind of his right as a human being to have that freedom. If he doesn't want to let people in the house, he doesn't. Anyway, the guy came back to me the next day and said, look, I've spoken to the nurse. It actually could be quite serious. I'm going to go out there. And he went out there. He found my dad on the ground and had fallen. And my dad was immediately, an ambulance was called. And he's in ICU. He has a subdural hematoma on his brain.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
And it's not clear whether it happened this fall or another fall a few weeks ago. So yeah, and he's also like lots of his other things going on with him
Yeah.
physically
Yeah.
that are very serious. But the point is that I suppose it's kind of like there's for me there's a guilt there that I'm not in Ireland. But then I know that all of this is born out of alcoholism, and therefore there's a detachment for me from it, an emotional kind of detachment with love happening, where it's like, and honestly, there's a coldness I'm experiencing about it, and I am going to go back to Ireland before I go away for the summer. I'm going to go back in a couple of weeks, but I'm
Yeah.
not rushing back to be by his bedside or anything. And I wonder, there's a part of me that's like, would I think I don't know. I don't even think I need to ask that question in a way. If he was diagnosed with cancer and he wasn't an alcoholic, or if he was diagnosed, and he was, I'd be there, But because the alcoholism is involved, I'm like, I, I I've just got, I'm almost at the end of my rope with it all.
Yeah. Mm.
I've worked so hard to help him try and be sober, stay sober, that there is a lack of sympathy to an extent which I genuinely don't feel guilty about. But obviously, it's very good to share with you and to hear back from you as well.
Let's find an alternative phrase to lack of sympathy,
Right. Okay.
because I don't think that accurately reflects necessarily the way you're behaving, right?
I feel sorry for him. I
Okay.
do feel sorry
Yeah.
for him, and I feel sad for him, very sad for his situation. But
Yeah.
it's yeah. So it's not lack of sympathy. It's I don't know what it is.
Is it just your self-protection?
There's definitely something of like I don't want him to fuck up my life anymore. You know, there's definitely like, and there's also a selfishness. It's like I don't want him to fuck with my plans. You know.
Yeah. Mm.
There's
And do you know
also
how that would look? Do you know how to successfully make sure that he doesn't interfere with your plans or with your peace of mind? How would that play out if you were to make sure that that didn't happen? That he didn't impact your quality, your peace of mind, or your sobriety, or your quality of life. How would that come about?
well, like let me just say that there's very definite reasoning behind all of this in the sense that I have a married life. I have a wife who is being our relationship is being affected by all this.
Mm,
Um, so um, I have worked so hard for him, but I've been affected by this most of my life.
mm,
So for me, it's like how that would play out is reaching the final straw and saying, "I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be a part of your life anymore. I'm not
mm.
going to answer the phone to you. I'm not going to answer the phone to anyone who is calling me about you, and I'm not going to come rescue you ever again."
Right. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
And I mean, that's a very powerful sentence, right? Which has a lot of emotion.
but it's what a lot of
Um,
people do in these
yeah.
situations.
Yeah.
There's many
Well, I mean,
people who don't speak to their parents anymore because of addiction, far less probably than what I've gone through.
indeed, and for most of them, that's what works for them. Of course, none of these methods, choices that we make about protecting ourselves from those from whom we love, they don't come without repercussion and and pain. Um, but I mean, it's so important that whatever you decide here, whatever new fencing or boundaries you put in place around how you think, feel, and operate around your father, it's so important because one other element that I'm sure you think about but just didn't name, so I just want to put it out into the room, is that yes, you have your own marriage, your own life now. Um, it's impacting you guys at home, but also you have a sobriety that you're managing. And within that, you have an alcohol addiction in you that can be triggered. It can be triggered, you know? And and therefore your self-protection, how you how you sort of leather hide yourself and protect yourself moving forward, um, needs constant review. You know, you have to review that regularly to make sure that you are taking care of your wonderful sober self, and that all that you do, all that you think, and all that you feel is working towards keeping that solid and keeping that strong. So to consider, excuse me, to consider how to reshape that dynamic with your father is healthy and responsible of you. And I know you do it. You do it with as much sympathy and empathy that you can muster. But I understand the coldness, that detachment that you're feeling. It sounds that does sound like your self-protective piece. And also, it's a little bit of an emotional freeze as well, Stephen. There's a little bit of freeze going on, a little bit of what they call hypoarousal, where you're sort of going into that sort of more numb, disconnected, detached place. Because, well, and again, relationship with your dad is, as you know, triggering. So, yeah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I think I understand what you're saying about the sobriety, and sobriety, it it does. Although I don't think about it very much, to be honest, these days, because it's just so much a part of me. I don't think of the word sober or sobriety that often in my head. I think of living a life that is the life that is full and rich and conducive to staying very healthy in mind and spirit and body.
Mm.
Um, um, but yes, sobriety is my first thing. But I do feel a million miles from a drink. But I understand what you mean when I guess you're not, when you're talking about sobriety, you're not necessarily talking about me going and having a pint. It's about me staying sober in my actions and how I am with others and everything else. And I think in that
No, in fact,
no,
I was making reference to the idea, or to the notion that, um,
I might drink.
sobriety and your historic alcohol addiction. Um,
Yeah.
that's where my thoughts were at. Although the additional piece about your sobriety around people, yeah, I get that too.
Mm.
Um, a matter of interest, when I pitched to you the idea of the importance of your sobriety, um, I'm not saying your thoughts are defensive right now, but just I'm wondering, are you put out by my reference or my usage of the sobriety comment?
No, not at all. No,
Oh,
no,
good,
no, no.
good.
No, I
Um,
think I'm just a bit. I'm not even spiky today. I'm actually in a very clear, clean place. I think it's just I might appear or seem maybe a little abrasive because of the situation. There's an anger there, at the
mm,
situation with my dad.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
How do you work with this anger?
um, I, I mean, I'm not really consciously working with it. I suppose working it out of me. I am exercising every day. I suppose that's alleviating some of it, but it's probably there underneath more than I would care to admit right now. Um, right now,
Yeah,
my instinct is to run. Maybe I should run later.
yeah. I think that's certainly an important part of it. Let me say to you that it's quite, in a way, disempowering because your father is so unwell, both physically and psychologically at the moment. Um, and love and light to him, and I hope things get better for him. Um, but because of his vulnerability, it's even more difficult for you to be pissed off with him. It seems borderline cruel to be angry with the frail. So
Mm-hmm.
where you know, even on a normal day, you may have difficulty in finding a platform to have a healthy expression of your anger and hurt towards him. Certainly at the moment, it's going to be even more difficult because of his circumstances. Would you agree?
To an extent, yeah. But I
Right.
am like I actually don't feel much guilt about feeling anger.
Okay.
I genuinely don't. Like, I mean, it's just it's just gone on so long, and there's just been. I know it's a sickness, and addiction is a sickness, and I, of all people, should understand that. But I mean, at some point, there has to be a matter of choice that has gone into this thing, into his actions, because, like, as far as I'm concerned, at this stage, he has stuck his fingers up to us one too many times in the metaphoric sense,
Hmm.
um, in terms of his behavior, because he knows how much it hurts us, his family, and he knows what he's doing, not just to us, but to obviously to himself. And yet I know there's a powerlessness there, and all of those things. I'm very, very aware of it. But at the end of the day, there must be a slight, he got sober for a good month here when he was here, some time ago now. He had all the medication in him. He was on a detox. There was choice there. There definitely was choice. And he chose to continue to go back and drink despite huge effort on my part and other people's parts. So I don't really feel that much guilt about feeling angry with the fact that he's lying in a hospital bed. No, I don't.
Right. Yeah. As you were describing your dad there and his actions, that good old AA phrase of the powerlessness um, came to mind. How powerless he seems right now. But I hear you. I hear you. I hear you describing, his choices, his options.
I
That
mean,
he
can I
has.
ask you, do you think that there was a choice? There's ever a choice? I mean, it's you can't assume on one person, but in a general sense, do you think that addicts at some point there's a choice?
Well, you know, you say in a general sense, there's no more dangerous a word
Right.
in mental
Maybe
health
I'm
than the
being
word
stupid.
general.
Yeah, I'm
No,
being
not at
stupid.
all, Stephen. No, no. I think it's a very valid question and topic. So no, please don't retreat or take it back. I'm sort of buffering my answer by saying, when it comes to general remarks about all people, you can understand how I'm going to be probably a little bit vague in my answer. But I suppose in hearing your question and the idea of choice, it's from a therapeutic perspective that over 25 years I've sat with, and I've done thousands and thousands of sessions with many people of all shapes, sizes, and types. And addictive behavior, I mean, the human brain is wired up to get out of its head, right? For hundreds and hundreds of years, our brain is wired up to wanting to get out of its head, right? And habitual behavior and addiction comes in many forms, many forms. But we're talking about alcohol addiction. We're talking about ethanol, and we're talking about not problem drinking. We're talking about chronic, long-term, intense addiction. Um, and when it comes to choice, somewhere on that line, a person, I believe, has influence and ability to make choices in their relationship with alcohol. But there is a turning point for some where just drink takes the man, or drink takes the woman, drink takes the person. It takes them. Just, when we just break it down to just biochemistry and ethanol and chemical, there's a point where I believe choice goes out the window, where people are just at that point in survival mode. And for some, they believe or they feel surviving is drinking. And so we're making no comments on your dad in this part of our conversation because, as you say, we're keeping it general.
Mm-hmm.
But I think many people experience that turning point where they lose choice. Many people experience that at different points of their journey, at different points. And I suppose we can only reference back you in your journey. So can I sort of turn my comments back on you and ask you, have you any recall, and that you only have to go go there in this conversation with me if you want, but when you look back on your journey with alcohol, do you remember experiencing choice moments and also experiencing moments where choice was removed, where there was an automation in your behavior? There seemed to be, no control anymore. Have you thoughts to share on that?
Um, I suppose because alcoholism is progressive um, and I got it quite early in life in the sense I caught it quite early in life. I think I don't think I think that for me maybe that's why I don't maybe completely empathize is that I think for me there was always choice involved, nearly always. Very rarely was there not choice involved. there was physical compulsion, there was social compulsion, there was a huge amount of factors pushing me towards drink. Like it was like 98%. It's the only thing I can do right now. But there was probably nearly always that 1 or 2%. There was still the witness there.
Right.
There was still the voice inside saying, this is probably something you shouldn't do right now. Or, you don't have enough money, or you've got that thing tomorrow, or, so there was an understanding and that I was doing a really stupid thing, like nearly always. And actually, that was part of the great sadness for me in my journey with alcohol, is that I never could fully, like, even in my drinking, I could, which is, when other people are really just letting go and enjoying themselves, nearly always there was a weightiness to it, a heaviness, a commentary, a sadness, an awareness that, this shouldn't be a part of my life. So I don't remember completely being choiceless. But yeah, have I answered your question?
Oh, well, yeah. Sometimes I forget what the question was. When I'm just listening to you speak. That's one little side of the start of that particular part of our conversation. But yeah, all very, very interesting. Yeah, the witness. You talk about the witness. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose really sorry to interrupt. I suppose I would, by putting it like that, I suppose I have more. I guess there's a little bit more insight into my dad, in the sense that I assume, and this is obviously, you can only assume because I can't see inside his head, but I think that witness is dead,
Okay.
and that makes me understand him a little more, I guess, in the sense that, or that means it makes me sympathize maybe a bit more, soften a little more around it, in the sense that I don't think he has that kind of awareness anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe he never
Okay.
did.
Yeah. And I think that the balancing act is, if you soften and allow yourself to feel more sympathy, then, there can be a feeling that makes you more vulnerable to being hurt again. Clients will often say to me, if I stay cold and heartless about it, that's my protection. Then he or she can't get in under my skin. They can't crack my heart again. So therefore, to keep it blunted and cold is the way for me to protect. And if I'm to empathize, sympathize, or lean in with warmth, or with love, that opens me up to the vulnerability of being hurt again and again and again.
Yeah, I don't think that's there for me, to be honest.
Okay.
Because I like to feel, and I think feeling is very important, and I don't think I'm trying to protect myself. I just think I have rationally thought this out, and I feel like I'm just at a loss, And just to go back on what my dad, I think the witness is there to an extent, in that he feels a lot of guilt. He does feel guilt. He hates that he does this to himself and others, but I just think he just doesn't, he can't stop. But yeah, I am at a loss, a complete loss, as to what to do. And so that's why I'm just like, I hold my hands up. I give up, I give up. And when I go back to Ireland, we're thinking of doing a kind of an intervention with him, with me and my mother and his sisters, the people who are affected by his drinking. And my mother, even though they're not together anymore, is affected. And just sitting in a room with him and saying, look, man, this is the way it is. And me, and as his son, I feel like saying to him, look, I can't be there for you anymore if you continue to drink.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I don't know what, but that feels like all I can do at this stage.
Yeah. The right thing to do, the wrong thing to do. Don't restrict yourself with the idea of what's right or wrong.
Hmm.
I mean, there's no rule book on this.
Yeah.
You have the right. You have the right not to go to the intervention. You can let the rest of them do it. He has many loved ones around him, sisters, his, your mum. There's people there to do it. The intervention doesn't have to have everybody.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not necessarily a space where you need to place yourself at this point. On the other hand, you have every right to be there if you choose to be there. You have a
Hmm.
right to lead the group and be the voice at the top of the room. You have the right to sit in the back and say nothing for the whole thing. You can you have choices, and none of them are right or wrong. It's just what's going to be the right fit for you. And even at that, you won't know what the right fit is. Again, I've just said the word right, but what is the safest fit for you? The safest. So when you're formulating decisions around coming back to Ireland and you know um, taking action with your dad, and if you choose to do that, make your choices around primarily your safety, because there's more than you in the clan, in this tribe. You're only one. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm. What I've
Yeah.
just said to you there now, what's it bringing up for you?
Yeah. Well, it's just, I guess, I was just thinking about the nature of decisions and how I kind of came to a decision, and but I can turn around on that decision and completely change. Yeah. So I'm just listening to you, really, just thinking. Yeah. I mean, anything. I could decide not to go to Ireland at all if I wanted, but
Yeah.
it feels, I suppose, to be really frank and honest with you, there's there's a there's a guilt thing for me with the whole going to Ireland. It's like, if I go to Ireland, then I can fuck off for the summer and not have to deal with family again for a long time. Um,
Right. Yeah.
and and that's really, honestly, that's, you know, I don't even think it's selfish. I think it's just wanting to live a life, just wanting to have
Yeah.
have a nice time with my wife. And I don't think
Yeah.
that's necessarily a bad thing. Like, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of trying to carry these other existences that, by rights, my father's in his late 60s. He shouldn't need me to be doing much heavy lifting until, you know, by the normal kind of path of life. Another 10 years from now, yeah, cool, I'll help you arrange someone to look after you, or come and look after you if I'm in the same country, whatever. But he's 67 or 8 years of age. I'm fucked off with it. It's years of this shit. And 7 years ago, I had to deal with him leaving my mother. I had to take her on my shoulders, carry her through a fucking mental breakdown. Um, and I remember saying to my cousin at the time, "This is going to be huge for me, Emma." And I remember saying it to you as well, and it was, and it still is. I'm
Mm.
fucking bored of it. I want to get away from it all. So, yeah, that's the real truth. There's a part of me that obviously cares deeply and wants to see people happy. There's another part of me that's like, yeah, I'll go to Ireland, do my bit, do my duty, and then run away for a while, because that's what I want to do.
Okay. Or you could just run away now, as you say. You don't have to come and sort of tick a guilt box and then do the legger. You could just go now. It's a completely equally legitimate, valid choice for you and your wife to just decide, we have our plan for Greece. This is how the next 3-4 months of our life is panning out. This is what we planned. This is my work schedule. This is going to be our lifestyle when we get to Greece. You know, that's my choice.
Yeah,
So that's your first choice, that you don't come near family, that you let others carry the baton and intervene with your father,
mm-hmm.
to try and have caring impact, on his choices moving forward. So you could just not be there. Yeah. Option one. Option two. Yeah. Come to Ireland, participate in some form, tick the guilt box, then go off for the summer. And there's choices C and D, and there is others, but I suppose we should just stick with the main ones for now.
Yeah.
And you've got time on this as well, you know? You can sit with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My instinct says go to Ireland. It's I do care. You know what I mean? Beyond what I just said, I do care. I do give a shit. And
Okay, so Stephen, if you two just went off to Greece now for the summer, does that mean you're not giving a shit? Does that mean you don't care?
no, I guess
Okay.
not. But I suppose, yeah, I suppose maybe there is that element of like keeping up appearances,
Okay.
which is it's not a huge element of it, but it's certainly there. It's like, oh, do you hear your man's gone off to Greece and his dad is there? Blah blah blah. You know.
Yeah. Would they say that, or would they go, "Do you hear your man's gone off to Greece? And sure, would you blame him for all he's put up with and all the support he's shown them over the years?"
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
look, what I'm pushing with you here, is something I want you to seriously consider, which is that, as you say, my instinct is to go to Ireland. Well, we know your guilt and other reasoning tucks in behind that instinct. So your instinct isn't necessarily pure or healthy on this one. Stephen, you must recognize and you must gift yourself the very real option on your list of choices, the very real option to decide that the most caring and healthy thing for you right now is to live your life this summer the way you truly want to. And the way you truly want to live it, you know, is, you two off doing your thing. And I understand the reasons that you're being drawn back. You've just explained why, you know, coming back would be something you have to consider. But you just must keep top of the list that real option of knowing that you can just do what is best for you. And if that is not coming home for this intervention, please give yourself every opportunity to consider that equally as strongly as the other choices too.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah. And I promise I'm not nudging you towards that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that that option gets equal say on the table of choices when you make your choice, or when the two of you talk at home about this. And
But what
Rebecca,
I'm
I'm sure, will
hearing,
have her views.
what I'm hearing is whatever about what I physically do. It's to maintain a high level of self-preservation and self-care throughout it, and that's, I guess, something I was putting to the back of my mind was my own kind of needs, I guess,
Well,
or Rebecca's needs.
yeah, you're compromising those needs in your considerations. Just compromising, but it's understandable. There's enmeshed sort of codependent murkiness that sort of is so difficult to untangle between family members. It's so difficult, probably impossible, to fully untangle that. So these are quite strained and difficult choices for you to make. So
But
be
I mean,
gentle with yourself.
wouldn't like say if you look at it in black and white, you remove alcoholism from it, right? Would
Mm.
if you said that guy lives in Romania, right? And his dad ended up in ICU there, and he didn't go home to Ireland to see him. His dad was in ICU and didn't go home to Ireland to see him. Like, just without alcoholism, does that sound bad?
Well, I think it's 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 both manipulative and highly unfair of you to to pitch to pitch that scenario, because because all the reasons your father is in the position that he's in now is all to do with alcohol. So to remove the alcohol from the storyline is to just completely change the story.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you would be, you're asking, you're putting out that idea of you being judged based on a completely different story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you remove the alcohol and your father just had an organ problem, ended up in hospital, and you not going home, well then, yeah, we know you come across as um,
Yeah.
quite an uncaring son in that scenario. But it's just it's unfair to pitch that, because it's all to do with alcohol, all of it. And
Yeah.
therefore you just can't remove that from the consideration of the storyline or your choices. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know. And tell me, what is your timeline for making your choices, your decisions around this?
Oh, there's time. The end of the month this month is when I'm thinking of going back.
Okay.
Next week, I'm getting a hair transplant, getting my bald spot removed.
Ah, excellent. And yeah,
And
good
so
self-care
that's
there.
non-negotiable. I've been waiting for
Yeah.
that for years.
Oh,
And
good,
then,
good.
and then, and then after that, I'll go back if I decide to.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you've already made up your mind.
Well, at the same, I don't mind. I love going back to Ireland. So there's a selfishness there as well, in the sense that it's nice to pop home and you know why not mix in an intervention while I'm there.
And on that note, um, I hope you have a week of due consideration and self-care and good hair and self-care. That's our line for today, Stephen.
Good.
I hope that goes well. We'll talk next week. So just regarding your choices, if we speak in a week's time, we'll be in and around your decision-making period with that. So I think it'll be interesting to talk. So you're up for it again?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm just
Good.
thinking that it's going to be the day after my hair transplant, so we will. I may be in bed, but I could do live from the bed. Yeah.
Live from the bed. Okay, I like it. Very, very John Lennon of you. Okay, you take care. Have a good week. We'll talk soon.
Okay, Zach. Take care.
Disclaimer. The opinions expressed by our presenters are entirely their own. We believe in fostering an environment that values intellectual diversity, enabling our presenters to share their unique insights and viewpoints. It is crucial for our audience to recognise that the opinions articulated during the course of this programme are those of the individual presenters and do not reflect or represent any other individuals, agencies or organisations. If you wish to contact Zach Powers, please email him at bergenpsychological.com. If you wish to contact Stephen, please go to stephendaltonvo.com.